So in this video today, we're going to go over the 5 most missed questions, or questions like the 5 most missed questions on the test 1, which are going to be repeated on this next quiz. And we're going to talk about some other concepts that we just covered this week and last week. So first of all, it says solve for the missing side and angles round to the nearest degree, round the side to the nearest tenth. So it's asking us to find AC, that's the side right here. So I'm going to use Pythagorean's theorem, and I know that this is my hypotenuse, which means it's going to be my C, and I'm going to use the equation a squared plus b squared equals c squared, okay? So I'm going to make AC my A, and I'm going to make the 9 my B, and I'm going to make the 22 obviously my C. So this is going to be AC squared plus 81 equals 484. Subtract the 81 from both sides, so AC squared is equal to 403. Recall that we don't want AC squared, we want AC, so we got to take the square root of both sides, right? So AC is going to be equal to 20.1. So I'm going to put my 20.1 right there. Now, we want to find angle A. So what we want to do is figure out the two sides that we have, how do they relate to A? So obviously this is our hypotenuse, right? And this is opposite, right? So what ratio uses O and A? Sorry, O and H. It's sine, right? Now remember, when we're trying to find angles, we use inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent, right? So we know that we're going to use sine, so we're going to do sine to the -1. And remember that your hypotenuse always goes in the denominator, okay? So this is going to be 9 over 22. Put that right in your calculator, and you get 24 degrees. We're rounding to the nearest degree here. Now, when we're trying to find this other angle, you need to recall that these two angles have to add up to be 90 because we got a right angle already, right? So what we're going to do to find angle B is we're going to do 90 minus our 24, so that's going to be 66 degrees. Okay, the next one says same thing, solve for the missing sides and angles, okay? So notice here again that we're looking for angle B, and we've got angle C. So here again, we're going to do 90 minus our 42, so that's 48 degrees. Now the next part of this is asking us to find a side AC, right? So it's asking us to find this side. So we want to talk about how do these two sides, the one we have and the one we're looking for, relate to angle 42. So once again, this is opposite, right? And this one is adjacent, it's beside it, right? So what ratio uses opposite and adjacent? TOA, right, tangent. So we're going to do the tangent of the angle is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, which is AC. Now remember, when we have a variable in the denominator, we're going to swap places with it in the tan 42. We're going to swap places with what's on the other side of the equal sign. So this is going to be AC equals 10.2 divided by the tan of 42. Put that right in your calculator. And when you do, you get 11.3. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the 11.3 over here. Erase all this stuff because it's pretty busy right now. So this is 11.3, this side right here, right? So now, can't we use a squared plus b squared equals c squared and know that that's the side C because it's our hypotenuse, right? So we're going to do 10.2 squared plus 11.3 squared, and that's going to be equal to our BC squared, right? So when you put that in your calculator, we get 231.73 equals our BC squared. And again, we got to take the square root of both sides, don't we? To get the answer. So when we put that in our calculator, it's 15.2. Now with this next problem, it says given that the sine of 15x minus 18 is equal to the cosine of 5x plus 8, what two angles would satisfy the equation? What we need to recall is that these two angles right here add up to be 90, right? So what we're going to do is that's exactly how we're going to set this up. 15x minus 18 plus 5x plus 8. This equals 90 degrees, okay? So we're going to combine our like terms here. So this is going to be 20x And then we're going to combine the negative 18 and the 8. So that's going to be negative 10 equals 90. So aren't we going to add 10 to both sides? So that's going to be 20x equals 100. And I'm going to go ahead and extend this down here a little bit so we have a little more room to work. Divide both sides by 20. So x is equal to 5. Now, we have to plug that back in because it asks us for the angles that satisfy the equation. So to do that, we're going to do 15 times 5, that's 75, minus 18. So this angle right here is 57 degrees, right? Now, if we were to subtract 57 from 90, that would tell us what our other angle needs to be, but we're going to do it. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 8. That is 33 degrees, right? Those are our two angles. And again, the way we can check that is to add them together, make sure they add up to 90, and they do. Okay? All right, so the next one says, if you are standing at the bottom of a cliff looking up at someone on top of the cliff at an angle of elevation of 47 degrees and the cliff is 620 feet high, how far from the bottom of the cliff are you? So let's work through this one step at a time. It says that I'm at the bottom of a cliff looking up at someone at the top of the cliff. Okay, so I'm down here, right? I'm here, and I'm looking at someone up here. Okay? It says that it's an angle of elevation of 47 degrees. So I got the ground down here, don't I? So listen, your angle of elevation is always at the ground, okay? It says the cliff is, how tall, y'all? 620 feet high, right? So that's going to be the 620 is going to be here. We got our right angle right there, right? And it says, how far from the bottom of the cliff are you? So isn't it asking us to solve for that? So once again, we want to see how do these two sides relate to the 47 degree angle. So obviously this one is opposite and this one is adjacent because it touches the angle. That's our hint, okay? So what ratio uses O and A? Tangent, you're right. So we're going to say the tangent of the angle, 47, is equal to the opposite, 620, over our x. Once again, these two swap places, right? So it's going to be x is equal to 620 divided by the tan of 47. Put that right in your calculator, and you should have got 578 feet, because we're going to round to the nearest foot, okay? Now, the next question is a little bit different. It says, if you are standing on top of a building and are looking down at a park at an angle of depression of 25 degrees, and the distance from the bottom of the building to the park is 5,280 feet, how tall is the building? Okay, so I'm at the top of the building, right? And I'm looking down at the park. Okay, park's over here. And this is an angle of depression, it says, notice. So look, here's the key. If I've got an angle of depression, then I've got a straight line across here, a dash. Yeah, I'm not doing a very good job of drawing that dash line, y'all, but like this. Y'all got me? This is my angle of depression. Always, it's outside the triangle, okay? So the angle of depression, it says, is 25 degrees. Well, here's the problem. I can't solve the problem if the 25 degrees isn't inside the triangle, right? So notice that this angle is congruent with this angle down here because they're alternate interior angles, right? So I can now move this 25 degrees into the triangle. Then it says that the distance from the bottom of the building to the park is 5,280 feet. That's a mile, y'all. And then it asks, how tall is the building? So once again, I'm trying to get y'all to do this. Label, what is the x? How does it relate to the 25? Isn't it opposite? And isn't the 5,280, it touches the angle, so it's the adjacent, okay? What ratio uses O and A? Tangent again, yes. So the tangent of our angle, 25, is equal to the opposite, which is our x, over our adjacent, which is 5,280. Now, this symbol right here means division. So what's the opposite of division, y'all? Multiplication, right? So we're going to multiply by 5,280 on both sides to get rid of that term. So go ahead and put 5,280 tan 25 in your calculator, because that's going to be our answer for x. And that is 2,462 feet. Okay? All right, so this next one says if AP and BP are tangents, well, look, they come from the same point. So if they're tangents and they come from the same point, they are congruent, y'all. So that means AP is equal to BP. So this is how we're going to set up the problem. So this is going to be 9x minus 34 equals 4x plus 36. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So that's going to give me 5x over here. And now that's gone. And I'm going to add 34 to both sides. So that's going to be 70, right? How many times does 5 go into 70, y'all? We're going to divide both sides by 5, right? So x equals 14. Now we're not done because it says to find AP and BP. So we need to plug it back in, right? So for AP, it's going to be equal to 9 times 14 minus 34. So put that right in your calculator. AP is going to be equal to 92, right? And BP as well. And why would I do BP if it only asked me for AP? It asked me for both, but why would I do both? To check my answer, right? So we're going to do 4 times 14 plus our 36, and BP also is 92, and it should be. And if it isn't, then I know I got the wrong value for x, okay? All right, number 7 says, it wants us to find the measure of IGJ, okay? Angle IGJ. This is what we're actually looking for, that right there, right? Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there for now. And we're going to talk about what we do see. Hopefully you guys see that there is a vertical angle in this drawing. Y'all see the vertical angles that are drawn right there? Yep, those two are congruent, yes? Okay, this is what else I see. I see half the circle right there. So what does half the circle equal? 180 degrees, right? So can I find this arc right here? By doing 180 minus our 136. That is 44 degrees, okay? So if that's 44, then this one down here is also 44, isn't it? Now, if we look to the right of the blue line, can you all see that that's half a circle? So what we can do to find x is add up those 3 angles and arcs, and they should equal 180, right? So we're going to do 44 plus 7x plus 2 minus 6 plus 13x, and all of this equals 180. So we're going to combine our like terms here. So 7 plus 13 is 20x. And then in your calculators, just do 44 plus 2 minus 6. And when I did that, I got 40. So this is, because that was, wait. Yeah, that's 46 minus 6. Yep, so that's 40, right, for sure. And that's equal to 180. So we're going to subtract the 40 from both sides, right? This is just algebra now, okay? So this is 20x equals 140. Divide both sides by 20. So our x is going to be equal to 7, isn't it, y'all? So x equals 7. Now here's the deal. To get that angle, that angle question mark, which is what we know what we're looking for, we're going to have to do, so the measure of angle IGJ is going to be minus 6 plus 13 times 7. And what did I get for that? 85 degrees. Now, because I'm a little OCD and I don't like to get stuff wrong, I'm going to actually put it in here too. 7 times 7 is 49 plus 2 is 51, right? So this is 51 degrees. And then to double check my answer, what I would do is add these 3 together and see if they're 180, and they are. Okay? Okay, so now let's look at this other one. We're looking for another angle, angle KNJ. KNJ. J right there. Okay, so that's the angle we're looking for. So I'm going to put a question mark in there because that's what we're trying to find. So once again, do we see any vertical angles? I do. These angles are vertical right here, aren't they? Okay. So this time, though, to be able to find either one of those angles, I'm going to have to use that half circle again. So once again, I'm going to do negative 12 plus 7x plus 2x plus 19 plus 65. That equals my 180, doesn't it? So combine our like terms again. We got our 7x and our 2x. That's 9x. And then do negative 12 plus 19 plus 65. And when I did that, I got 72. Subtract the 72 from both sides. So this is 9x equals 108. So doesn't x equal 12? It does. Okay. So here again, we're looking for question marks. So this would be 2 times 12, which is 24, plus 19 is 43 degrees. Okay. So I'm going to, again, because I like to check stuff. So I'm going to do negative 12 here, plus 7 times 12. And when I did that, I got that this was 72 degrees. And once again, I'm going to add up this angle and that angle, or that, and all three of those should add up to be 180. Again, that's a good way to check your question. So number 8, here again, I see some vertical angles. Y'all see these vertical angles right here? So this one out here, this arc, the vertical angles are congruent, so the arcs have to be congruent, right? So this is going to be 55 degrees right here. Okay, so up here, I'm going to use that top half of that circle to find TS. It's asking me to find this arc right here, okay? So once again, I'm going to do 55 plus the 20x plus 2 plus the 9x plus 7. And again, because that's half my circle, that's 180 degrees, right? Going to combine the 20 and the 9x. These are my like terms. That's 29x. Then I'm going to combine the 55, the 2, and the 7. And when I did that, I got 64. And that equals 180. What am I going to do with that 64? Yes, subtract it. So that's going to be 29x equals 116. Divide both sides by my 29. So what is x going to be equal to here? X is equal to 4. So once again, we're going to plug it up there. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 7 is 43 degrees, okay? And again, remember, I'm going to put it back up there in that 20 as well, just because I want to check it. 20 times 4 is 80, plus 2 is 82. So that's this one right here, y'all, okay? So once again, we're going to add these three together and make sure they equal 180, okay? So this last one's a little different, isn't it? We don't have any diameters and we don't have any vertical angles. So what are we going to have to do with all of these? Yes, add them all together, set them equal to 180. So we're going to do 25x plus 47x minus 1 plus 19x plus 3 plus our 40 plus our 45, and all of that's going to equal 360 degrees this time because we have the whole circle, right? So we're going to combine all our like terms. When we add the 25, the 47, the 19, that gives us 91x. And then we're going to combine the negative 1 plus 3 plus 40 plus 45. Do all that in your calculator, y'all. So that's 87, and that equals my 180. Then we're going to subtract the 87 from both sides, right? So this is 91x is equal to 200. Ooh, not one. Oh, sorry, I did that. That should be 360, y'all. Almost made an error there, didn't I? So subtract it from 360. When I do, I get 273. And then I divide both sides by 91. So my x is equal to 3. Okay, now what do we have to do? It's asking us for ZV. ZV is right there, right? That arc. So we're going to go 25 times 3, which is 75 degrees, right? So if I want to check it, again, put it back in all of them to double check it. So we do 47 times 3 minus 1. So I got 140 for this one. 19 times 3 plus 3. So this one is 60. So this time add all of them together, and what should they equal? 360. Okay? So this is the next one. Okay, so this is what I want to point out to you guys. From the center to the circle, I don't know why this is distorted, but let me see if I can get it undistorted because it looks pretty, there we go. Looks more like a circle now. Okay, let's just make it a little bigger so we can talk through it too. I don't know why it keeps distorting my image here, but we're going to talk through this and then we're going to do it. Okay, so first thing I notice is that we have a right angle here because this is a radius. And notice we have another radius right here, and that's why they're both labeled X, because we have two radiuses, okay? So what is opposite the radius, or opposite the right angle, sorry, is our hypotenuse, right? So to find this whole hypotenuse, don't we have to do 7 plus X? We do, okay? So, and this is going to be our C, and we're going to use Pythagorean's theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? So we know that has to be our C, right? So I'm going to make the 14 my A, and I'm going to make the X my B, okay? So I'm going to do 14 squared plus X squared, and that's going to be equal to, I'm going to switch this because I like it in, I always like to put my variable first. X plus 7 squared, okay? Now, most common error we're about to address. This right here is not X squared plus 49. When you square a binomial, you always get a trinomial. This expression means we're doing X plus 7 times X plus 7, right? So we're going to use the box to do this, okay? So I'm going to do X and 7 here, and I'm going to do X and 7 there. And this is my suggestion, y'all, that you use the box method so you don't get this wrong, okay? So this is X times X is X squared, 7 times X is 7X, 7 times X again is 7X, 7 times 7 is 49. Do you see our like terms in the diagonal right there? So this is going to be X squared, 7 plus 7 is 14, and our 49, okay? So now we're just going to bring down this part right here. So 14 squared is 196. So we got 196 plus our X squared is equal to our X squared plus 14X plus 49. Now, because we have an X squared on both sides, they cancel each other out, don't they? So then we're going to subtract 49 from both sides. Okay, so that gives us 147, and that's equal to our 14X. So how do we get rid of the 14? We divide both sides by it, right? So X is equal to 10.5, and don't let that mess with you guys, okay? Now, what I want to do is check and make sure I got the right answer. So I'm going to go back up here, erase all that mess, and I'm going to put my 10.5 right here and my 10.5 right there. So once again, my right angle's here, right? So I'm going to do 14 squared plus 10.5 squared, and see, is that equal to my 17.5 squared? And it is. So there you go again. That's the easy way to check it, okay? All right, I'm going to see if you guys can do the next one. Pause the video. Come back to me when you're done. So here again, my right angle's there. This is my hypotenuse, and this is going to be X plus 4, right? Okay, so I'm going to make it 8 squared plus X squared equals X plus 4 squared. I'm going to do my lovely little box method over here. I'm going to put my X and my 4 right there as well. I'm just going to do my box right here. So what is X times X? X squared. 4 times X is 4X. X times 4, 4X. 4 times 4, 16. Here again are our like terms, right? So this is going to be x squared is 64. I'm bringing down my terms now. 64 plus x squared equals our x squared, 4 and 4 is 8, plus 8x plus our 16. So once again, what happens to our x squareds? They cancel each other out, right? We're going to subtract 16 from both sides, right? That's gone from there now. So we have 48 equals our 8x. Going to divide both sides by our 8. So x equals 6. Now, again, can we check this? Absolutely. So once again, we're going to go up here and we're going to put our 6 there and we're going to put our 6 there. And so how we check this is 8 squared plus 6 squared. Does it equal, this right here is 6 plus 4, right? So does it equal 10 squared? It does. Okay, so that's how you check your answer. All right, so this is our last set of problems. So here again, notice we've got half the circle, which is 180 degrees. So if we're looking for this arc right here, which we need to be able to find that angle, we're going to do 180 minus 114. And 180 minus 114 is 66 degrees, right? So then what do we do to the 66 to get this angle? We do 66 divided by 2. So that angle is 33 degrees. Okay, notice here we have this angle, which is an inscribed angle, and it is intercepted by this arc. So I need to find this arc to find the top one, right? So what do we do to that? We do 2 times 50. So this is 100 degrees, right? So what are we going to do to find this one? We're going to do 100 plus the 131, the two arcs that are there. So that's 231. And what are we going to do with the 231? Subtract it from 360, right? So when we do that, we get that this one was 129 degrees. So on this one right here, again, we've got one arc out of 3 that's missing. So we're going to combine these two, 114 plus our 106. That's going to give us 220. What are we going to subtract the 220 from? 360 minus 220. That's 140. So this arc here is 140 degrees. So then what is this angle right here, y'all? What do we do with the 140 to get the angle? Yes, we divide it by 2. So this angle right here is 70 degrees.